These are always some of my favorite videos to film because I'm a bit of a stats nerd and I like to look back at what has happened, what's currently happening now, and then using the data that we have to try and figure out what potentially could happen in the future. As always, my name is Tom and I run a real estate team here in Toronto called the Story Team, and we help awesome people buy and sell real estate with a long-term educational focus to the process. So what we're going to do in this video is break down the first 6 months of 2021. There's never a dull moment in Canadian real estate, but specifically Toronto real estate. And so what we're going to look at today is the first 6 months for every single asset class. We're going to break it down. We're going to show you what asset classes have appreciated the highest amount and what we could potentially see as we move forward into the year. But just before we get into the numbers, I want to ask you for a favor. If you like this type of real estate content and you find some value from it, if you could subscribe to this channel and like this video and hit that little bell if you want to be notified, it helps the algorithm get our content in front of more awesome people like you. And I'm hoping that they'll actually see these videos. Okay, let's get right into it. So what I'm going to show you on the screen right now is the 4 different asset classes and what the prices have done so far this year. So let's start with semi-detached. Semi-detached properties started the year very strong, coming out in January, which is usually a pretty sluggish month to be fair, at about $1.2 million average sale price in the 416 area code. In February, it jumped all the way almost over $100,000 to 1.324. Then we kind of cooled off a bit to just under 1.3, hovering at 1.3 in April. To May, we were at the peak of what we saw. And then in June, we jumped a little bit back down, so it's kind of hovered. And if you look at from January till June, we saw about a 5% increase. If we'd used May numbers, it would have been closer to about a 6% increase. Now let's jump to detached properties. So detached properties started the year at an average sale price of about $1.581 million. If we move all the way to June, we are hovering just under 1.7. So that is about a $120,000 increase in the first 6 months of the year. Now the peak was March, as it is with most asset classes currently, because of the first 3 months we saw a big run up, and then prices have pretty much hovered for the next 3 months in every single asset class. But if you use January till June, we're up for detached properties about 7.4%. Okay, so now let's get into condos. And before I show you the stat here, I want to give you some context. So last year in February, before everything happened in the world, condos were doing extremely well and they dropped off hard last year. They bottomed out in October. They were down about 10 to 12% depending on what area of the city you lived in. And then inventory kind of came off the market in December. And then as we started 2021, there's a huge surge in condos. So condos are actually up 14% in the first 6 months of the year. Let's take a look at the numbers. So condos started off the year at $624,000. Pretty quickly in February, they jumped up to $676,000. In March, we saw $707,000. The peak of the condo market so far was April, an average sale price in the 416 area code of $727,000. May and June hovered off a little bit at $716,000 and $717,000, but that gives us a January to June increase of about 14%. And let's finish things off here with townhouses because they've had a huge year as well. So townhouses started in January at about $814,000. They jumped up $100,000 by February at $913,000. Then they jumped up again to $960,000, which was the peak for townhouses. Then April, May, and June, they're hovering between $940,000 and $945,000. But that initial January to June price difference is 15% in the first half of the year. So let's go over this again. Semis are up 5%. Detached properties are up 7%. Condos are up 14%, and townhouses are up 15%. Now, condos always had this room to grow because they had a bumpy year in 2020. I think townhouses are a little bit of a surprise that they went up double the other asset classes, but it does make sense because they are technically more affordable than semi-detached and detached properties, and they're a nice jump up property. If you're selling your condo and moving to a townhouse, it's kind of like a nice middle ground before you get into that expensive freehold housing. Now, I want to talk about what's happening now. So we're heading into August. Now, I say this every single year to our clients, and if you've watched our videos for a while, you may have seen me brought this up before, but August is a fantastic month for buyers because anyone that's on the market in August, in my opinion, is more motivated to sell than they would have been in the other months of the year. Otherwise, they would have waited till September. Or they listed in June or July and are still sitting on the market in August, and they're really getting a little bit antsy. So I hesitate to ever use the word deal in the Toronto marketplace because the inventory is still just so low that it's hard to find a quote unquote deal. But I will tell you there are opportunities for buyers that exist in August that will not exist in September. So just something to keep in mind right now, if you're a buyer, seriously consider August. There will be less to choose from. That's the case every single year. but there is also way less competition. And over the past 5 years, take away 2020, because that was an outlier with what was happening, August, other than December, is the lowest average sale price month 5 years running. And just to finish off this video, let's talk about what could happen next. What's going to happen in the next 6 months of the year? Well, July so far has been pretty busy, but I think the prices are going to hover like they have for the past 4 months. The city is opening, the country is opening, people are traveling. It's feeling a little bit more like normal life, whatever that really means to anybody these days. So what I think could happen in the future as the borders open, like a lot of people are going to come here. They're going to have to move somewhere, and it's already influxing the rental market. The rental market is booming again. It was sluggish for a long time. The rental market is back, and I don't think it's going to slow down. So the rental market's going to get hit first in terms of price points going up. Then it's going to come over to the condo side, because right now the gap between condos and detached properties is $1 million in price. Just to give you context on that, before the pandemic, in February of 2020, it was $700,000. $300,000 gap in price has built over that timeline. And that's because condos went down in price last year as detached continued to go up. So what does that mean? I think condos are undervalued. I honestly do. And I think what you're going to see as immigration opens and the city opens up even more and people understand what this price gap is, I think condos are going to do extremely well. They're going to see a run up in price for the second half of the year. All the other asset classes will do well. Like, unless we somehow build more housing, inventory is always an issue in Toronto. We're going to have ups and downs, but overall, I think it's going to be pretty stable. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to connect with us, check us out on Instagram at The Story Team. We are super active on that platform and we have a lot of fun with our clients there. You can also go to our website, storyteam.ca, and you can book a buyer consultation, a seller consultation, or just a call with me. What we're actually doing right now is we're doing real estate portfolio reviews for free. No obligation, not a sales pitch. I'll just sit with you for half an hour to an hour, go over your real estate portfolio, figure out how much equity you have inside of the places, what the appreciation has been, and just kind of run like what the next 5 to 10 years could look like. Because I feel like we're always so busy in our lives, we don't ever sit down and actually take a look at our real estate portfolio like we maybe would with our financial portfolio or going to your dentist or doctor twice a year. It's the same mindset. So if you want to do that, you can book it in the call with Tom on my website. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video valuable. If you have any questions at all, comment them below, and we'll see each other soon. Have an amazing day, and remember, home is where your story begins.